All right, hey, today on Age Group Podium Junkies, I have Simon Passmore. It's going to be a fun interview. I look forward to interviewing Simon. We see each other out there on the race course quite often. So, anyway, let's dig into it. Simon, give me a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, where you quote call home, what flag you race under, all the good stuff about Simon.
Where am I? Okay, so I said I was born in England, but I've spent most of my time outside of the UK. I'm currently living in Costa Rica, but I've also lived in Spain and in Hong Kong. Where I've lived in America for a few years as well. Traveled around a lot, so I'm kind of more like a global citizen. Nowhere really is home. I mean, here we're in Costa Rica, been here for a year and a half. Probably going to be another few years here. We'll
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. Um, background. I was in finance actually. I was in kind of fell into finance in the UK, worked in London, then in Hong Kong, and you know, back in the day, it was really enjoyable GFC. It got tough, but it's like one of those jobs that it just wasn't not for me rewarding in any
Yeah.
particular way. You're a cog in a wheel. Um, and then I got into training when I was in Hong Kong. More seriously, so I was kind of I found Spartan races and functional fitness and a whole bunch of life changes happened. To then probably at the age of kind of really 48 when I actually started getting fitter seriously.
Oh, wow. So you don't have a traditional background in fitness or in sport?
No, I mean, like anyone in the UK, you either grow up, if you're public school, you probably play rugby. If you're comprehensive state school, then you'll be playing football.
Ah,
We grew up playing soccer, footy in the playground with the tennis ball. Everyone was playing football. You'd play it after school, before school, during any breaks,
yeah.
and that was it. So I was playing. I played football. I played in goal. I loved that. You could be a hero, or you could be a hero playing in goal. So I grew up doing that, and that was it. Really nothing else. But from an athletic point of view, when we went to Hong Kong, then I got into dragon boat racing over there, which was good fun in that season. Um, and then did a bit of road racing and trail racing. So there's some good trails there. It's funny, Hong Kong, you think is this metropolis, but it's 85% green land. So there's a lot of trails to run on. So I started doing some trail running there. But really, it was when I hit 48 and had a whole bunch of life changes.
Yeah.
I got out of my job that I was doing before in finance. I retrained as a personal trainer, which is far more rewarding. And then I changed my diet. Actually, went from eating meat to not eating meat, which worked really well for me. And then I found Spartan actually, and got into the functional fitness side. And Spartan was great because it gave you a focus. You got
Yeah.
races, so you're focusing on a race and a goal, and but you're running, you're using your trail running, you're having to build some strength, also a lot of mobility because you've got overhead monkey bars and all that kind of stuff. Um, so that was good fun. It's got a good community. So really, it was late on that I started doing any kind of decent fitness.
Yes, yes. So Hong Kong, how did you end up in Hong Kong? Like what made you decide to wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm going to go live in Hong Kong?"
Um, I had a job out. I got a job offer out there basically.
Ah.
I was working in London beforehand. The period when I actually worked, I did. I spent a lot of time trying to avoid work. So I went traveling in South America, and I lived in Spain, and all the different things. And I got into a stint of working in London for 10 years, and then there was a opportunity to go out to Hong Kong and work out over there. Um, and then that was 2010, a couple of years after the financial crisis, things starting to look up again. And yeah, I thought, okay, let's go and work out there for a few years, which I thought was going to be easy,
Yeah.
compared to, you think New York, London, they're the big
Yeah.
hubs, right? I think Hong Kong is going to be smaller, going to be easier, but man, it was It was way more complex,
Huh.
dealing with lots of different markets. Some of them developed, some underdeveloped, and working in a new company
Yeah.
where there were lots of issues. So it became very a stressful, real stressful kind of 7 years in the end.
Yes.
But Hong Kong itself was great. I could then you could then travel around so much. What was long haul then became short haul. You go to Cambodia and Vietnam and for in a weekend.
Yeah. 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 So you're not in finance anymore. Are you a personal trainer or coach now?
Yeah, principally I'm looking after my little one. I say little; she's now just turned 6. So, but I'm principally looking after her. We made a bit of a decision, me and my wife, basically, with our kids growing up. Simply, we didn't get to necessarily spend a huge amount of time with them, mainly on weekends and that. So we made a bit of a decision when Santia came along by chance, really,
Yes.
and then COVID kind of happened. We moved from Hong Kong to Glasgow, in the UK. She's half Scottish, half Spanish, my wife, and we said, let's take some time out here and have look after Santia growing up. So I retrained after I left my job in Hong Kong. I retrained as a personal trainer. I was sitting in the gym actually after that afternoon. I was thinking, okay, what should we do? And thought, well, actually, why not
Yeah.
learn about personal training more from my own point of view initially? So I did a whole bunch of anatomy courses. I did nutrition courses, did the whole TRX animal flow, which is fantastic, and did that. But I loved the training part of it. There was a small gym in Hong Kong, tiny little gym owned by this mad Italian guy, Stefano, and he let us work there. And I started doing personal training and then group training. But the great thing was, a lot of it was outside.
Yeah.
There was a beach right near there, and then a bit of a jungle out the back of that beach. Made a whole bunch of Spartan obstacles and balls and lots of different obstacles to run over and mud pits and then rope climbs and spear throws and all that. So it was great fun out there to have
Yeah.
that mix of personal training and group training for a couple of years.
Yes. Oh, that's cool. So you just turned 55, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. When was I just turned 55 too. My birthday's October 24th. What was your birthday?
August 6th.
August 6th. So 55. And then how many Hyrox races have you done so far?
31 or 2, 32, I think.
32. And then do you remember how many podiums out of those 32?
Yeah, 36.
Huh?
I haven't missed one. I haven't missed one yet.
Oh,
So
have you podiumed
yeah,
every time?
yeah. Every time. So fingers crossed. I've
Damn,
touched wood.
that's good. How many world qualifies?
Um, I qualified for each one actually. Yeah, I qualified for each one. So Manchester was the first one in 2023, a couple of months after my first race in Glasgow, and then Nice, Chicago, and then now Sweden.
Yeah, yeah. So last year you ran solo and pro doubles, if I remember right, in Chicago, right?
Yeah, yeah,
What are you
yeah,
racing this year? You doing the same again, solo and pro doubles?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Both again. I'd like to do mixed as well, but the lady that I just ran mixed with, I think she's too busy to
Yeah,
do mixed as well.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
And I know we were talking about this a little bit before I started the interview, but your personal best with Joze, right?
yeah.
Was
What in the pro doubles?
pro
Yeah,
doubles 57-21,
that's right. Yeah,
and that's also the world record right now, right?
yeah. That is the new. Yeah, the world
In the
record
age
after
group.
it was Yeah, actually, the nice thing with it was the world record that after it had been reset from the 10-year to 5
Yeah,
year. I had the last 5 year one, and that was in the 58s. Anyway, so it was good to break that properly,
yeah,
down to 57-21 with lots of mistakes. It was our first race together. Joze was he was kind enough to come out. Him and his son came out to Phoenix to race. So we met up there. We were all over the place. We had a certain plan. but we got a 15-second penalty on the burpees, like staggered stance on there,
Yeah.
and then the ski. Like, he came up. He was active. Then he came off the ski. Instead of going out to his left, he went out to his right straight into me. I was trying to grab for the handles because let those go. I tried running off in the sled pull after 3 lengths I had a brain freeze and started running off then. We came up to the wall balls and we didn't know who was starting.
Yeah.
So we lost a bunch of time.
Right.
It was about as uncoordinated as you could get, 2 people racing together.
Yes. Oh, that's funny.
But it was a great course. Phoenix was really good course. I think like similar to Warsaw last weekend, having that stadium setting where you're effectively got a running track around, but it was set in such a way that the rock zone didn't feel particularly big.
Yes.
Yes. In some places like Washington DC, I think, and Birmingham in the UK, the rock zone seems huge.
Yeah.
But there it didn't. So it was a good course. So yeah, it was good to break that pro record.
Yeah, Phoenix was nice and cool in the stadium too.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't ice cold like Warsaw. I guess was if you watched any of the events, people were dressed in like their winter clothes inside the stadium.
Yeah,
yeah.
Which gives you a real good advantage as well. When you're racing, it doesn't take much to warm up.
Yeah,
and warm yourself up. But then you're not going to overheat it at all. Yeah, Phoenix was good from the point of view of heat, but Warsaw was probably optimal.
Yeah.
From the point of view of race temperature as such.
Yeah, I think it's like 12 to 20 Celsius is like perfect running or perfect Hyrox temperature, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My second race, I had probably had the complete opposite of that because my second race was in Malaga. It was an open race, and they had some issue around air conditioning indoors. That they'd reduce the usage, so it was around 28 centigrade.
Oh God!
In the conference center in Malaga. I don't think I've never felt as bad. And actually, I got an open record that day, but I'd never felt that. I didn't know whether it was at the temperature or because I'd run faster. I don't know, but it was terrible.
Yeah, and Nice was pretty warm too.
Nice people were the medics were coming out all over the place. And the wall balls, people were collapsing. It was it was bad. It was really bad there.
Yeah, I just talked with Pamela Fox from the U.S. She was on the show, and we were talking about Nice. And I was in wall balls, and guys were falling over in wall ball. Yeah. I think we were together that year at Nice.
Yeah. No, definitely. It was. I think there was a combination of the humidity and the heat in there.
Yeah.
It was a small setup, and you were running underneath the stands a few times as well. So it's very close,
Yeah. In Nice, if you stood back and looked in the stadium, you could see the humidity cloud at the top of like near the ceiling.
Yeah.
Nice was crazy.
Yeah, beautiful place to go, but probably not the best to.
Yeah, plus they
race.
were having a heat wave when we were all there for Hyrox too that year. Yeah, it was like in the mid 90s, which was kind of on the warmer side, I guess, for Nice that time of year.
So. Yeah, it definitely was. Definitely was warmer.
Okay, so why Hyrox?
It's interesting, actually, because I got into, as I said before, I got into Spartan. That gave me a real good focus, and I loved Spartan. Once, I raced a lot in Asia. Did the 24-hour ultra in Iceland, which was, that was a just intense race because it was so cold and so dark. Okay. But did lots of races. I've got a couple of times to European Championships and podium there in Andorra, which was horrible because the altitude, up and down altitude, and won the UK series twice. And I really enjoyed it, but with the best will in the world, you're not going to get your family to come along to a wet and cold field in the middle of the Midlands, right, to watch your race. And it got to Danny, actually, one of the guys that I met when on my first race in the UK, Danny Sevilla, who became a doubles partner for a few years. he talked about Hyrox and how he won the doubles world champs in the age group in Vegas. And he was talking about it. So I looked into it and I'm like, well, okay, let's have a go at Hyrox, which was then going to be in Glasgow. So I heard about it through him. And once you do your first race, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is fantastic. Just because it's the thing I loved about it is there's all the separate challenges with the run and all the different nuances around each station. There's so much to learn, and you had all this data around it, which you don't have in Spartan. They tried to make the Spartan, okay, we'll make it 10 K for the super race, or we'll make it 21K for the beast race, but the course was so different. There was no records. It was all about the races themselves, and so this was then gave that extra dimension that you had. The fact that you could look at each station, you could look at your times that you did and compare them with everyone else. And yes, you do have variations of courses. Warsaw, I'd say, was a fast course. London Olympia for the European Championships was fast compared to some courses. Like I don't think Washington is really that fast, but you got a little bit of variation with it. But the workouts are the same workouts. The running distance is the same overall running distance, and so I heard from him. So then I just trained for Glasgow in March 23.
Yeah. A lot of people say Hyrox repeatable and trainable, right? It's repeatable and trainable, and I know not each one is apple to apple or orange. They're slightly different. There's a little bit of difference, a little bit of variance, like we were talking about earlier. Temperature can be a variance in the race. How many laps it is, right? A 2-lapper, 3-lapper, 4-lapper. All that can but for the most part, they are repeatable and trainable.
And low skill.
Real
low skills. So you can, it's then, you need to master the movement mechanics and that of each station.
Yes, exactly. Okay, how did you first find out about it? How did you get roped into doing your first Hyrox?
Well, I'd say through hearing about it from Danny, and me and Danny battled it out in Spartan a couple of years on that UK series, which is basically 4 races over the different races that they would take, and you get your results there. So we battled it out over there, and I thought, man, well, if he's got the world championships and got to the doubles, then surely I can do it. And then he beat a guy that was like a guy that I met in Hawaii, actually, when I raced Spartan in the trifecta weekend in Hawaii. He beat him by 10 seconds. I thought, oh man, if both of those can get on the podium there, then let's have a go at it. And I say they had one in Glasgow. At that stage, it was easy to get tickets, right? It was one day event, easy to get tickets. So and that's how I heard of it. But I didn't even know much about it. And when I trained, I was just doing the Hyrox workouts that they would send out, which is pretty much mini Hyroxes and variations of that.
Yeah. So your first one was in Glasgow. Did you run solo or doubles at that one?
It was an open solo.
Open solo. Did you podium there?
Yeah, I got first, right? But I got first by point something of a second. I got a 103. I don't remember the time. It was 103.38, and this guy Paul Connor, lovely guy. He didn't show up to the podium because he was so pissed off. He'd lost by a fraction of a second.
Oh.
We both had the same 103.38, but I must have had a fraction or so ahead of him. But it was great. The thing of that, I say you always race over the line. Always got to go through the line, and I did that, and it always makes that difference, right? You can't leave any second out there, which you think over an hour or so of running around in circles that it wouldn't make that much difference, but that day it did.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I had a tie in Mexico City with the guy.
Really?
Yeah, for first place, and it was funny. After they did the podium, they gave me second, and they gave this guy first, even though we were a tie. And my son calls me like 2 hours later, and he's like, or he texts me, he's like, Dad, you're in first place now. And I'm like, how the hell am I in first place, right? And I look, and sure enough, I'm in first place. The guy that they had given number 1 to was in the wrong age group. I was in the 50 to 54. He was in the 45 to 49.
No way.
So I still have a number 2
Jeez.
flag from Mexico City. Anyway. All right. So you have raced every category, right? Pro doubles, solo. You've raced every category. Is there a category you haven't raced?
And the last one that I'd raced that I hadn't raced before until last month was the mix. I hadn't raced the mix before until EMEA. But I've open and pro singles and open and pro doubles, and I had a bit of a thing during the second season because I basically with Glasgow, then Malaga, and in Glasgow qualified for Manchester World Championships. So all those were solo races. The next time I raced was in Madrid. I said, well, okay, let's start doing like 2 a day. No, there was two things behind that. One, there was a bit of a challenge, and then 2, you've gone all this way, then why not do 2 races?
Yeah.
And at that particular time, I think 23 season and 24, early 24 season, the events were 1-day events.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have those races would be on the same day, whereas now, God, you look at New York coming up. I mean, that's over 8 days, I think, and
it is.
And you've got 2 lots of pro singles and 2 lots of pro open singles, but then you had them on one day. So, but I've raced in all categories.
How'd you do in your mixed doubles?
We were second. It was disappointing. We were disappointed.
Where was that one at that you raced mixed doubles?
That was in the EMEA Championships, European Championships in London.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a So Sam Bilby, who's phenomenal runner. She's a phenomenal runner, right? And she's the top person in the 50-54 category and thereabouts, right? She's a ex-UK vest runner, great athlete. She had a real toil of a time in the race the day before in singles. It was one of those kinds when I think she got there and the body wasn't there. She still won, but she really struggled getting round. And then that fatigue came through the next day.
Over,
she wasn't running as fluid as she could run. But she pushed as much as we can. And I think we were in 4th place. We got ourselves to the 3rd, and then on the wall balls, overtook into 2nd place. So, but we wanted to get that 1st place. We wanted to get a really good time as well. But it just didn't. It just didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yes. What age group?
It was a hard race. We were 50-54, but the difficulty of mixed doubles, and I didn't realize this would be a bit more fun. Is that as the male you do take up the load a lot more. So you start and finish stations generally. It makes it a lot harder. It makes it a lot more intense race.
It's one of the things I observe, even in the Elite 15s, right? When like Lauren and Rich Ryan ran, and you watch the mixed doubles of the Elite 15, it's always a lady leading the pack in the running.
A lot of the times because the male's gassed out from
We're always running behind. Now, who was leading the charge? Was Sam leading the charge, or were you able to hold the charge in the runs?
No, I was generally leading the charge in run. There was just 1 or 2 times when she took it up initially. I'd say normally she would have been. Yeah. She would have been leading that run and then me hanging on. But she had the fatigue from the day before. But also I think it was just one of those weekends when you just weren't in the right place for her, I think, physically.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
But next time.
Yeah, exactly. My lady partner and I, we just moved up to the 50 to 54 age group, but we'll be racing in Stockholm in the 45 to 49 age group.
Well, that's going to be an interesting age group. There's Guy Portlock who's in there with Sabine Van Sales, and he's focusing on mixed doubles this season because in Chicago he raced the mixed doubles literally, I think 30 minutes after the singles had finished.
Yeah.
And he raced mixed doubles and he was suffering the whole way. And they've got a gym together in in Switzerland. He's a lovely guy, lovely people, and he's this year they're focusing on that mixed doubles, to try and win that 45 to 49 age group, and they're really strong. He's fast,
Yeah.
and strong, and so she's fast as well.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. All the age groups are getting faster and stronger every year.
Yeah, that's the thing. You look at the elite races. We talked about it before. When I started, then women there was no one under an hour,
Yeah.
and then Meg Jacoby broke it, Lauren broke it, and that was with 75 wall balls, and then they changed to 100 wall balls, and then you had in the EMEA championship race, you had 5 people,
Yeah.
5 ladies under 58 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is phenomenal. And you look at the times in every other category, and you see the people that you kind of started with. So for me, some of those characters, John Wynn, Ryan Kent, those guys in the elites, and
Mm-hmm.
they're struggling to get in, to stay in that
Yeah.
in that mix, because the times are just coming further and further down. I mean, Alex Rokovich breaking 52
Oh, he's a beast.
minutes. Just phenomenal. And so now you're kind of looking, before Hunter was the man to beat, and now you kind of say, well, look, you got Tim Venus, you got
Yeah.
Hunter, you got Hidde Visma. That's 3, but then you got the young guys as well. It's a lot closer fields now in male and female. It's really great to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they are getting fun to watch. It's so fun to see the whole pack. Like, always the pack goes into the ski and comes out of the ski, right? But now, and remember, it used to be later in the race, like down at the lunges, down at the farmer, get more spread out, right? But now we're starting to see, even going into like farmer carry, all of a sudden it's like, boom, it's like the peloton all goes together, right?
Yeah. It's racing right from the off. The speed they go out now, right into the first station, because you can't really leave it, let people go.
Yeah.
In that elite field.
Yeah. So what's your next race?
Next is, actually, I just booked the flights last night for going to New York. I wasn't sure about it, but I've only done one pro singles this season.
Yeah.
In Boston, which is really to do with the fact that I'm living here in Costa Rica. Is you've got an hour and a half to the airport, and then it's where you can fly direct to. So I went to Boston in September, which was a double 2 flights, but that was originally going to be racing pro doubles as well as singles. And then when I qualified in Boston, then I thought, well, it doesn't make sense to go to Dallas. I didn't want to. The whole thing is taking away time from family here. It's a lot longer amount of time, and then because of the change in the regional championships, where you had to have a passport from the region, I couldn't go to Washington, D.C. again. So I went over to London, which then meant I missed Houston and Miami, which would be easy direct flights.
Yeah.
So I haven't done a single since Boston, and that was a bit of an easy race anyway. So I need to do a pro singles. And New York may not be the best place. And hopefully they don't have the 6 sled push and pull lengths this year. But it's probably not a place to get a time, but it's good to have a run out before.
Yeah, before Stockholm.
Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there too. I'm racing. Do you know James Carolyn by any chance? Do you know James?
No.
He's one of the East Coast guys. Does really well in the races all together. I've interviewed him once on here, and we raced last season together. So we're going to team up together and race.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just to have fun before we're doing pro doubles and team relay, and then it'll be just a warmer upper for Stockholm, right?
Yeah, it's good timing. Given I'm on May 29th, so that gives 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
For Stockholm.
Yeah. So out of all the places you've been, what's your favorite venue?
Yeah, well, you have to. So you say venue visually or venue from a race point of view. From a race point of view, it'd be Manchester.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple. I won the World Championships there in my first pro race in 2023, and then I went and got the record in the singles and open this season after, and had a mad dash down to Manchester. Living in Glasgow, I could get a train to Manchester, and My aim was by that Christmas to have the 4 world records for singles, open and pro, and doubles, open and pro. But then Guy Portlock came along and he
Oh
set
yeah.
an open record in Germany somewhere, and I'd missed out on improving the then my open record in Birmingham. A bit of judging issues, I would say, and not being funny, but the problem of having for Hyrox of having multi-day events
Yeah.
going outside of a normal weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Once you start getting to Thursdays and Wednesdays, there's not enough volunteers, right?
Yeah.
So they in Birmingham had to bring in agency staff. The agency staff, the Hyrox guys themselves are saying they just weren't really necessarily that interested and weren't judging to the right way. But anyway, so look, the guy got that record, and I basically got the train down. I got a late ticket, got the train down to Manchester in the morning, ran the race, got the record by 9 seconds, and then got the train back that day. But Manchester I love because it's a three lapper. It's nice and bright. It's in this older convention center, but it's big windows, nice and bright, and it's a compact rock zone.
Yeah.
So when it's less people on the track, then you're able to really get round there really, really well. So I think, for me, Manchester was probably the favorite.
Let me ask you this, because you do travel around the world to race these. How do you time yourself with jet lag? Would you rather go 10 days beforehand and adjust, or would you rather stay on your time zone, get there like 2 days or a day before the race? How do you approach it?
Well, so for the last race in Europe when we went over there, so there's 2 things for us: there's kind of jet lag and then family.
Yeah.
Right. So we arrived on the Tuesday, and the first race was on Saturday. So we had a good amount of time from a jet lag point of view. And I'm generally pretty okay with it. But the thing, when you factor in the fact you've got a 5-year-old, then your sleep and your routine goes all over the place anyway if they're traveling with you, right?
Yeah.
You're generally in a hotel, you're probably in the same bed because, one room, she's got a sofa bed, but then decides to come into yours. So, you don't have the normal, can I recover from jet lag type scenario. When you're going to Stockholm, I'm actually going to go on my own, just because it's a long way for them to go, and it's I've got to get on 3 different flights to get there, and it's 18 hours there and 30 odd hours back. But I normally would go out a good few days before. I remember seeing Michael Malloy, it's an Irish guy who raced in the 45s, 49s in Washington regionals last year, and he had come. I think he'd arrived the day before the race, and I was chatting to him on the row. He was doing a row, and I was watching him, and he was saying he was just all over the place. He looked, he was having a hard time, and he said like the jet lag really got to him, and that race, the doubles the next day, he was absolutely fine, no problem at all. I think it just pays to go a few days before, at least. I think if you can, 3 days before is probably the better thing, and adjust yourself to that time zone as soon as you get there.
Yeah. So you'll go over and adjust right away versus stay on your time zone and then race on your time zone and then adjust.
Yeah. Because most of the time, if I'm going somewhere, family would be with us. So you're going to be doing things like Chicago World Champs. What was I doing the day before? I was 12 hours or something like that in the Children's Museum, running around with my little one who wants to play and do all kinds of stuff, and then carry on her shoulders back from there to the hotel and all that kind of stuff. So, all of that bit goes out the window, really. It's better just get into the time zone in the country for us that you're going to and help out as much as possible with her.
Yeah. So what shoes are you wearing for Hyrox?
So the shoes, I started out, now the shoes I loved, I still got a pair of them, is the 2020 Adidas Ultra Boost PBs, because in Hong Kong, they're not a super shoe at all. They're a good running shoe, but they're really breathable, and they're great for training here outside. For races, I got a pair of the Puma Deviate Nitro 2s,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that all the multicolored kind of almost rainbow shimmery looking things. I got those in Malaga. In between, I was doing 2 races that day, and I did the opening set of shoes. And okay, well, they were selling. Okay, well, buy a pair of these and try them out for the pro race. But they got fantastic grip on them. Really good grip, better than the latest version, right? So I just saved those just for races.
Yes.
So since then, I will only wear those in races. I don't train them, don't do anything in them. They're
Yeah.
just there, and they're in pretty much pristine condition. And then I train in the DV8 threes.
Yeah.
I've got a pair of those, which I was going to race in. I thought I was going to race in those. I don't like the grip as much on them and the feel of them as much as the 2s. So yeah, the DV8 2s are the ones I've got
Your
for racing.
go-tos. Yeah, everybody seems to have their take on the shoe. You know, like the experienced racers, right? We all kind of gel into a shoe that we like.
Yeah, I think it's you don't want to be training all the time in carbon plates. I've actually got the
Yeah.
Saucony Speed Endorphins, which are a nylon plate, which are a bit softer. So I'll run indoors with those. I will run outdoors with the 3s, DV8 Puma
Mm-hmm.
3s, and then I'll do all my functional stuff in the old Adidas Ultra Boost.
Yes.
But I'm getting into those shoes. But I've got 4 pairs, one purely for racing and then 3 for training, and that's it. I don't have any other ones.
Yes.
But yeah, you get the one you like, and I think the Puma one has a narrower box at the front, which if you've got wider feet, it doesn't allow your feet to spread out so much. Adidas are better from that point of view. I think it's really what's comfortable more than anything.
Yes. 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 Hey, let me back up once. I want to ask you, go back to some of our original questioning. Most memorable race. Do you have one that sticks out so far?
Memories. Well, I think Manchester probably. Yeah, Manchester.
So that your first
Because of,
year going to Manchester, and then you won Worlds that year, right? In the age group.
yeah, yeah. I think because of I had a bit of an issue that day, like miscalculated something, and but yeah, it was my first pro race. So the funny thing, I qualified in Glasgow. They send an email over and saying, right, you qualified for Manchester, and oh great, you got
And that
a
was
certain
back when you
time
could
to.
qualify in the Open.
Well, you qualify. Yeah, that's when you can
Yeah.
qualify in the Open. And that was going to be my point. I got this email and I went to go on to Manchester and I phoned. You could at that time you could actually phone up the help desk, and I phoned up someone and said, look, there's no open category here. It just says
Hit pro.
there's just pro category. And am I missing something? He said, no, there's only World Championships. It's just pro categories. And okay, well, all right, I'll come back to you tomorrow. I need to I'll go to the gym and see if I can push that sled with that weight on it. Can I pull it? Can I carry those kettlebells? And so I gave it a go, and I thought, well, okay, I can do it. Not that well, but I can do it. So right, okay, I'll sign up for the race. So I think it was just everything around it. And you go into this World Championships and I went to watch the elites the night before. And Hunter was dominant in that win. But the standout character actually was James Kelly. He got a last minute call up. Tim Veenish had been going through a lot of injury issues now. He pulled out half an hour before. So James Kelly gets called up. He's running around in a pair of shoes I think he's borrowed, in kit that just looks like he's just mugged someone. And he's going around high-fiving the judges as he's going around, having a great time. And I think he finished in 8th, right? But to finish in 8th in a World Championship race when you hadn't
Yeah.
qualified for it, you were like 15th or 16th, say. But yeah, so watching that and then watching, I think Meg Jacoby won that year actually. And yeah, just watching the women race and the whole atmosphere of it all. Again, that was a 1-day championships. It was all one day. So and then winning the race. So yeah, that was probably the most memorable.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Actually, I'll give you one more.
Yeah.
Just because the first time I did doubles with Danny, he said, look, we'll do a doubles in London. And it was just, the stars are aligned for this race, right? We were in the first heat, but then Hunter and George Heaton from 247 represent, I think. And they were going to run a race together. Hunter had just come off the back of breaking the record in Stockholm. So they were going to do a doubles race together. And there was a couple others there. I think Kieran Parkers and Tony Reddle, UK Elite 15 boys, and a few others. And we got in that heat with them.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. It's the first time I'd raced doubles, first time we'd done doubles together. And we thought, okay, start line, we'll wave them goodbye and then we'll go along. And then, came up to the row, and then Hunter's next to you, like, little fist bump, and you're like, wow, this is cool. They'd obviously started way before us, but we're still at the row with them. And then I'm doing wall balls next to Hunter, and it's the first time they had the Thunderdome. That London XL 2024 season, or end of 23, there's a 23 to 24 season, I think. Yeah, the first time they had that Thunderdome.
Yeah.
So the atmosphere was fantastic. The fact that Hunter was there, it was just all, it was really, really good. And we ended up finishing third in that heat. We broke we smashed the world record by a couple of minutes in that open division. But it was just such a fun race to be involved in.
Oh, damn, that is so cool. You didn't get going in fitness till later in life, right?
Mm.
So your body is you preserved your body through your young years, right? Did you work out? Were you just like?
I probably preserved it, probably marinated it in alcohol. Been in finance, you're out a lot, you're drinking a lot at times. I guess there's levels of fitness, right?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. So I thought I was fit. I played football, and then when I was in Hong Kong, did things, dragon boating, etc. But I had this thing of trying to break a sub 40 10K in it, and it took, I think, 7 attempts out there, because they only have the races every certain times a year because of the heat over there. 1 year I'd been out the night before, had too much to drink, and then I just about made the start line, that kind of thing. But I was fat fit, my body definition, if you look at, seeing any kind of, no abs there or anything like that. There was kind of muscle there, but hidden. But say in 2018, when I ended up getting divorced, I ended up quitting my job, and then I changed and stopped eating meat. So all of that at the same time, and then having a focus on actual training for Spartan and becoming a PT, then I kind of then took fitness seriously.
Yeah.
And trained with a focus. So, if you train, you can train. But if you're not training with a focus, then you haven't got a goal, then there's nothing to be accountable for. That was at 48. And then I got into the Spartan side of it, and then subsequently to Hyrox. So it was all quite late on.
Yes. All right, switching gears, tell me, what is a week like? What is your training week like?
Well, it was all initially around when my daughter was at nursery. So she was at nursery on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I trained Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now she's at like a full-time set at kindergarten. So I train normally. I have a lot. I make sure I have a lot of rest days, right? So, and I think people can overtrain too much, and people I speak to as clients, you go through their normal week, and whoa, okay, so you're doing this day, and every day you're doing something, and there's a lot of intensity in there, a lot of volume. So when are you recovering? When you're adapting, when your muscles adapting, when are you physiologically adapting your cardio system? Right, so I naturally try and build in rest. So I will have, but today, Monday, I'll normally have a harder day. So I'll do conditioning session. So this morning I end up doing 500 meters of pro lunges, broken down into different techniques, and some wall balls. So that was about 45 minutes or more, and then warm up 10 minutes, so it's nearly an hour. And then I did some running, but easy running after that. I did intervals, LT1, the initial threshold running. Did 8, lots of 3 minutes that. So I'll do that kind of intense session and a bit of an easier run session on the Monday. Tuesday now I'll bring in some ergs because mine aren't that great. So I'll go to the other gym and then ski erg and rowing, and do some intervals and different things, but not intense, but practice on your technique and just being on the machines, time on the machines, those two. And then Wednesday now I'll then focus on the running more. So I'll do some sprints. So 400-meter sprints and rounds of those, which is enough in the heat here. And then do a short run afterwards, like a few K afterwards to just use that fatigue, and then run some more. And then I'll work on I'll probably do some plyo after that.
Yeah.
So either just working on burpees themselves or breaking that station down. And then the probably rest on Thursday, and then the Friday I'll do another interval session indoors. Because the days was indoors, the other one indoors. Because here as well with the heat, you've got to be mindful to not go too. If you do a run session outdoors, a harder one, then you're not do much for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll do probably an LT2, the higher end of the threshold run session, or maybe do you do an early in the morning, then I'll do a 40-minute at an uncomfortable pace. And then I'll do station technique. So I'll take a wall ball thing, right? And let's do 100 squats with the wall ball. Let's hold it high, do another 100 squats like this, break them down into 25s, right? Let's do some high throws. And just work on the movement mechanics.
Yeah.
And trying to get as efficient as possible. And then the Saturday or Sunday, I'll do a combo of going out, just go for a bike around, maybe do a bit of animal flow is really good, where it's that kind of active recovery. And then the other thing, every morning, we'll do 10 minutes of mobility. I think that a key one is you're getting older, but just for anyone, to be honest, but obviously matters more when you getting older. Just 10 minutes of different types of stretches and moves. And that is a lot of that's around injury prevention. We talked a little bit before the show about this. A lot of people get injured, and myself, I remember in the Worlds in Nice, I tried to run the day before, and I can manage 1K, and then my calf was tightening up. But with them doing the mobility and that mobility and strengthening in those stretches, then you're trying to prevent those injuries.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge proponent of stretch and mobility. In fact, I do like a 45-minute stretch. I call it's a stretch, hip mobility, and yoga routine. I do it almost daily. Yeah. Because the older body does need some more care.
Yeah, it's amazing. You don't have to do lots of big moves, and that's with the clients I'm training. I've got a handful of clients because it's quite intense the way I do the training. But for hip flexors, for instance, I used to back in Glasgow. I remember I always get some sore hip flexors, so I looked at movements for those and found one movement, just a body weight movement. 10 reps aside, a couple of sets of those, and it just made all the difference.
Yeah.
Don't get any, you just half the time with an injury, it's because the muscle isn't strong enough. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So let's say somebody new comes to you wanting to get into the sport. Let's say they're in shape, but they're just in workout shape, right? Like I go to the gym 3-4 times a week, and I don't challenge myself at the gym, but I stay in shape. What advice do you have for that person that says, hey, I want to do my first Hyrox? What's the path you get them going down? How do you get them going down the path?
I think there's a couple of things, right? I mean, it all depends on what their focus is. Do they want to try and, are you going out to do that race and enjoy yourself. You're going out to get a time. Are you going out to challenge nearer the top of that age group? And it all depends. But I think the first thing, building up your cardio.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you build up your cardio base and you work on your running, no, you can't escape it. You got to run. But there's ways of building that up. You don't want to be, you got to have the right structure around that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at Lauren Weeks, if you look at James Kelly, those guys, right? They Lauren Weeks had a quote in one of the podcasts, I remember, where she loves racing because she's let off a leash. She can actually run to whatever speed that she wants to run at, which is phenomenal running speed. But in training, she's held back in her thresholds. There's too much on Instagram and social media around. Yeah. You look at sessions and people are always going hard at this and they're going hard at that. And you're too much for the body, right? You're in fight or flight all the time. So yes, do some VO2 max sessions, one, maybe twice a week. You got to get used to going above, getting really painful, but have those a short session. You want to be a lot of building that aerobic base, be it running or bikes. Great for that. Some of the trainers on the bikes and some of the programs you can do there are fantastic. The second thing I say is master the movement. Normally people are going to train you, going to give you, say, okay, do certain Hyrox movements as part of the training at some point during the week, right?
Yeah.
You want to do those well. There's no great point in practicing wall balls or, this workout where you got 20 wall balls and 15 lunges, when you're not doing it as efficiently as possible. So are you doing them so you got the mechanics, you're actually doing the right, so within the rules. That's the first thing.
Right technique.
Right form, right technique, making sure you know rep for yourself, that kind of thing. But then it's getting the mechanics so efficient that you're then using the minimum energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah. If you look at the rocks, a lot of the apps they're out there, Rockstep, right? Where they have all the times and all that on there. They also they have workouts on there. Yeah, it's great. But you need to do those station workouts if you're doing those, with the right way. I see too. I remember in the gym back in Glasgow, there'd be circuit classes going on, and they started focusing more around Hyrox, and no one would move the damper on the ski erg. That would stay at 10, no matter whether some male, some female, some athletic female or some unathletic male. It would always stay on 10. You see them doing wall balls and you're like looking, going, oh my Lord, what's going on here? The more efficient you can get. And I think it's great to be if you're a student of looking, and that's the good side of social media. You look at different tips and techniques from different people and take out what works for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, the efficiency of the movement is a real key.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So in that same vein, what's the most absurd thing you've done in the name of Hyrox training?
Well, I guess living in Costa Rica, there's not exactly many gym facilities, right? You can't go to a gym, and I can't do a simulation.
Yeah.
Because there's not the equipment to do it. When I first went to the local gym in Tamarindo, there's 3 running machines. One of them wasn't working.
Yeah.
The other one would stop at around 13.5 kilometers an hour. Right? That had a ceiling on it, and then the other one, well, normally someone was on it, right? So, and then you had no room to do anything else. So here it's getting the equipment. So there's no sleds around. So we had this Jeep initially. So I got a rope, and then the only way to do sled push and pull was to push and pull the Jeep up and down. At least you got some resistance there, especially on the pull, that initial pull. Yeah, there's momentum once you get into it, but it's probably push and pull in the Jeep to mimic a sled.
Right. Do you coach down there in Costa Rica by any chance? Do you coach
But
properly at like a gym or a studio?
I don't at the moment, but I'm going to, because I miss that one-on-one
Yeah.
side of it. So I'm going to start coaching people down here. Um, and there's a couple of retreats that are due to go on as well. One functional fitness retreat is called, and get many Americans coming down to do a whole bunch of activities. But it's just a great place where we are. You're right near the sea, so you've got the surf as well as the wildlife, etc. But at the moment, I'm coaching online, but it's a handful of clients, literally a
Yeah.
handful of clients,
Yeah.
because I don't go and say, right, here's a 10-week program, here's a 12-week program, this is this block. I'm programming like week on week.
Yeah.
Right, okay, how do you define that? And there's so much communication around it, because I just like that way of doing it. And now, is that efficient anyway? No, it's not efficient from the point of view of earning any money or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's just, I think you can try and get the most out of people. It's just, okay, let's just tweak that and change that around. Let's do that and do that. And a couple of people I'm working in is on the adaptive side, and that's really good to work in. And I got to race with one of those guys in London and go round as a
Yeah.
guide runner, and that was just fantastic to be able to actually see someone in a race environment and then take notes along the way as to, okay, let's work on this a little bit, let's work on that. So I do some online coaching.
Well, maybe down there in Costa Rica, there's an opportunity to open a gym.
Definitely. You know what? I was chatting to Christian Totschke, the founder of one of the founders of Hyrox. I've known him since Manchester somehow. I got chatting to him, and so seeing at events where we kind of catch up. And he's loves his surfing, and he comes to Costa Rica every year. And it turns out he's got a boutique hotel down in Nassau, a few hours away from here, and he was talking about bringing the center equipment over there. But yeah, it'll be a good setup to be able to have a gym here. I think
You could do one of those
not,
themed destination, like
yeah,
the Mediterranean
yeah,
places are kind of for people to go, and you could do like a destination holiday or
yeah,
vacation
yeah,
getaway.
and that's the yeah some of the American guys here are organizing this functional fitness retreat in May. We're not quite. I think it's all going ahead. We'll see. They've got a couple of people coming over for that, but because you have got so many other things around here to do, so it makes some sense. And
Yeah, it does.
it's definitely really popular in Europe, because it's a short. Here to Costa Rica is a pretty short travel time. If you're in Miami, and New York's a bit
Yeah,
longer at 5 or so hours. But in Europe, it's really popular going down to Portugal, and Thiago Lusa, he has some training there, and some other guys. And I mean, it's great. You come for warm weather training.
yeah,
It's a good setup. I think they've got a bit more infrastructure. They've got tracks and stuff they can use.
yeah.
Whereas here, there's an equipment issue in places, but and not you have to do. I think a retreat would be the kind of thing, because not so many people nobody's heard of Hyrox
Yeah.
in Costa Rica.
Yeah, and I think those retreat type vacations are coming more and more in vogue because I'm sure like
Yeah,
people like me and you, my wife, we're very active, and like when we go on vacation, like that's like one of our like we're not big touristy people to go out. We love finding a local gym and go working out at a local gym, getting out running or
yeah,
biking and stuff like that. Like we go vacation, but we still do our whole workout routine, right? And it's just fun to go
yeah,
do.
yeah. I think there's a big change in fitness, how fitness is perceived,
Yeah.
and the amount of people that are involved
Hmm.
in it. And that's why Hyrox is so great, that because it is low skill, anyone can do it. And whether you do a Hyrox in 2 hours or you do it in an hour, you still done a Hyrox,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's equally as hard for both lots of those people. It's very inclusive, and across male and female as well. I think it's one of those sports that's just hugely inclusive of people generally making more strides on the adaptive side. They need to do a bit more there, but it's getting a lot more people mobile and into fitness. And then God, I went back to Glasgow, and the amount of gyms that have opened up in Glasgow, and you see the makeup of people. You know, there's a lot of people that they'll go out and they're not going out drinking.
Yeah.
You know, they'll go out socially, but they're not going out drinking because they're into their fitness
Their
and
fitness.
being healthy. So there's a lot more resorts and, you know, places opening up because they're for holidays as well. You go on a holiday, you know, you want to do that as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. At Hyrox now, let's go back to the Hyrox itself. What is your crush it station like? The station that you feel like you just command it. You when you get there, you're like ready to attack it.
None of them.
None of them.
None of them. I know I generally turn up to a station and you're because you try. I'm trying different things at the moment. It's been really interesting this season doing some of the doubles and racing with people I haven't done doubles before with.
Yeah.
So in Phoenix, I raced with the Irish guy Michael doing the Open, and then I raced with Joze, the Slovenian guy in the 55 group to qualify for Worlds, and he's ultra fast. Michael's ultra fast. I raced with Swiss Mike Schifferle recently in the European Open champs, and these guys are just they're fantastic. They've got such engines on them, and they're so fast, and you're pushing right from the get-go. So station-wise, when it comes into it, I mean, I'm never that much of a fan of ski erg. Sleds could have got harder. You know, for me now, the race starts after you got through the sleds.
Yeah.
You know, that debacle in Chicago kind of shows you you can't. You could have a good sled push, but your sled pull could be a nightmare, and
Yeah.
you know. You don't know whether you're going to race is going to end there. You know, before that would be the burpees, but I think the burpees get very mechanical now, so that's better. There's no one station. Actually, the only station that I know I can catch people is always the lunges.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one where when I did the EMEA race singles, which I wasn't going to necessarily do, but I could have effectively meant I had 3 races in a day. But I made a last minute. Okay, I'll run this race, and I started off behind everyone. I kind of lagged around in the start tunnel for a bit and just let everyone else go off. Didn't want to get caught up in with them. And then I thought, well, aim was then to kind of catch people. And in theory, I should have, on paper, been able to win that race comfortably. But there were a couple of guys who were out in front, and I think I got into second place by the row. But someone was 100 meters ahead of us, one lap ahead of us on the farmer's carry. And I think, oh, geez, that's going to take a bit to kind of get ahead. But then I saw it was 4 lengths for the lunges, 25 meters, until they were coming to the end of that first length. I thought, okay, here we go. So by the 3rd length, I'd passed them on those lunges. And, then I knew I was ahead of them.
Yeah.
Physically and in time, because I started behind time-wise. And with the open wall balls, then now I don't fear them anymore. And I was comfortable on those. So
yeah,
I guess the lunges I know that I can normally do well in.
Yes. If you could eliminate one station, what would it be? And if you could eliminate one station, what would you replace it with?
I don't think it wouldn't be the same race. And, the burpees, nobody really likes the burpees, nobody really likes the wall balls. If you switch those around, if you did anything different than having those wall balls at the end,
yeah,
the whole setup of the race would be so different. Right? Having the burpees in the middle there with a bit of a rest after, I wouldn't take anything out. I think, the bigger guys especially would, previously said, oh, take out the sleds because they were lighter and ran a bit easier than they do now, and put in some deadlifts or something. But I think now that the sleds are heavy with the carpet, then and still a bit too variable, but then it's that mix of strength, endurance, and so I don't know. I wouldn't take anything out of it really.
Yeah, so you'd leave it just as it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think the only thing you could do is you could make different types of races. You could have a double Hyrox,
Yeah.
you know,
Ultra
something like that, and
Hyrox. Yeah.
ultra Hyrox.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good.
A lot of people suggest to add the bike in somewhere, the assault bike.
And yeah, the assault bike is a hard thing. And would you replace the ski erg with that or the row? I don't think people want to replace the row because that's typically a station
Yeah.
where you can maybe relax a bit. I mean, the assault bike would make it really. That would make it really hard.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd leave the row in there. Don't put the assault bike in.
One thing that's nice about the ergs is there's no judging really in the ergs, right? There's nothing.
Yeah.
It makes it easy, right? To whereas like you look at burpees
Mm,
and the wall balls and the lunges, there's some judging there, right? And then there's some
yeah.
disparity among the judges themselves about what, if you and I were both judging, we might have a different eye at each station, even though we're experienced racers, right?
Yeah. I think that's frustrating. Those two stations, I've judged them both. And I think the burpees, that's the nice thing with those. You don't have that judging. Obviously, you don't go and make the mistake of picking up the handle before putting your feet in on a
Yeah.
row and all that. But the burpees is interesting. Lauren Weeks turning around and she destroys the burpees now. But she changed her technique from stepping
Yeah.
up to jumping up just because it was so hard to always get parallel. Because your eye for parallel, the same as on the burpees, the same as the wall balls, it's very difficult. You need to be right down there looking across. And the
Yeah.
good thing now is, in Boston was the first time I judged with the target as it was, right? So you don't need to look at the target anymore. You can be right at that level to watch. Um, there shouldn't really be any bad judging.
Yeah.
The only issue you get as a judge is that now you've got the situation where if it's busy, you're looking at two,
Yeah.
and that's more difficult. But it all depends who's there. If there's women, generally, if you've got women doing the wall balls, you won't have a problem with depth.
Yeah.
Naturally, they've got a better feel for depth and a better bodily functioning, what they can get to depth a lot more. The men you have to watch it, obviously, a lot more. But it's tough. And burpees is probably the hardest station to judge from. If you want to try and look at someone parallel, you've got to be with them the whole way.
Yeah.
And when you're looking outside of elites and everyone else, I was in Boston. How many judges have you got? And if you've got a shortage of judges, I had to I was on a whole 40-meter length judging that on my own. It's not going to be ideal. So you're just trying to help out. But I think a little bit in Hyrox as well. There's a bit of when I had the judging the first time I did judging, they had a call the week before, right? And the first thing they said on this call was, "You're there to help the athlete succeed.
Mm-hmm.
You're not there to be a headmaster and no rep." And I think for me, okay, you need to, if you're a head judge on Elite 15, then yeah, okay, so you need to make sure they're hitting every rep right from the start. But I'll warn on a burpee or the wall ball beforehand, and I'll tell them as they're running in, right, hit depth, make sure you hit the center of the target, right? And then if they're not making that depth, right, you need to get lower on your depth, I have to no rep you. And maybe they get away with 2, normally 1, and then I'll, no rep, right? But you're there, you're trying to help that person. I think it's gone away a little bit from that. And it's because the size of the event. I mean, it's a huge event of lots of volunteers. Not everyone's going to be perfect. No matter how much the head judges tell the people, tell the people judging, then it's not going to be ideal each time. And it frustrates me when you see wall judges standing up and judging. You're not going to tell from there if it's marginal. You're not going to tell, and it's frustrating when you see people getting away with clearly bad wall balls.
Yeah.
If it's marginal, it's marginal, right? I mean, I've seen watching elites run in and they're getting away with that. that to me, that's not depth.
Yeah.
That's in line at best. That's not depth. So, but I think you just got to have the right in. Let's look who's racing and what's the scenario, etc. And let's try help them more than be complete headmaster.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. All right, let's move on through what's the most embarrassing or hilarious moment from one of your races?
I think fortunately nothing embarrassing. Um, the the moment of oh my god, what happened was the Manchester. So before Manchester, I qualified for this thing, and I went, okay, and I went and stalked everyone that I could
Yeah.
see that were in the, who held the record at the time. Ismael Mateo, the Spanish guy from Basque Country in Spain, and then who was around that field. I kind of stalked everyone, and Ismael's the guy that I need to to beat. I mean, I haven't got a clue whether I'm going to be up there, but I thought, well, if I'm going to run good times, and I got that in Malaga, I got the open record from him. So I thought, well, yeah. But I'd never run a pro, right? But so I'm looking for Ismail. I see him in the training area beforehand, and okay, right. We get to the start, and I can't see him. And I think I thought this was by age groups and everyone's in the same
Yeah.
heat, right? And especially if you've got good times, you should be right, be up there. So I went running off in this race, and then it came to, I think it was the sled before the sled push, the run before the sled push. Ismail came flying past us. So, what's going on here? Well, I was thinking, how's he's here? He's actually here, but he must have started behind us. What's gone on? Turned out there were two waves, and he was somehow in the second wave. So he went flying past. I went through the arch, and I looked up, and oh man, I've gone in the out arch.
Oh.
And okay. And then my head was all over the place. You could see. I was pushing the sleds, and I was my head was scrambled, and I wasn't sure how many sled lengths I'd pushed.
Yeah.
And I kind of went off everyone else. And thought, oh, I must have pushed 4, right? And there's a photo from that. The year after in Nice, they put up the winners of the age group races, right? So, I think maybe in a warm-up zone or somewhere, there's all these. They did really nice, all these pictures of everyone who had won the race the year before, and I've got this really worried, perplexed, deer in the headlights look on my face, because I was like, "What the hell's?" I couldn't work out what had gone on, right? So, and then I God, geez, I've got here you are in this championship race. I don't know when we're going to be here again. And I've gone and screwed it up straight away. I've gone in the wrong one. I didn't know whether I was going to get a penalty. That's the thing. I didn't at that time, although they had chips and that. About 2 weeks before, there'd been a race in Hong Kong, and one of the elite guys had gone in, done exactly the same thing, but it hadn't been picked up on the tracker. It had been picked up on a video, and I got a subsequent penalty on a video. And but when I did my first run loop, I saw a penalty 1 minute. Jeez, what am I going to do? And the funny thing is that works out in my favor in a way. And I thought, well, I've got a gap. I've got to get a gap on the next person that I know. This German guy, Thiele, I thought, I've got to get at least a lap on him to be able to have a chance of being up in the podium or winning or anything, right? So then I was just concentrating so much on getting that 1 lap, that gap. That was probably it.
So that one race, have you ever overrun or underrun since then? Or how many times have you done that mistake?
So I hadn't done that mistake again. I haven't gone. I made sure I study the map when it comes out. I run through the race in my mind, the map and everything, exactly how it's laid out. But Washington DC last year in the regionals, and it was in the start tunnel of the singles race, I think Tommy, the MC,
DMC.
he got, yeah, and he was saying, how many people have done Hyrox? And I was kind of stuck up my hand. How many done more than this race? So I was the only one to stick up my hand. Oh God, okay. And then he said, "Oh, everyone follow him."
Yeah.
And Danny, my doubles partner, was there that day. He wasn't racing singles, and it's 2 laps, but he's counted the laps for me. And then my brain had kind of gone off elsewhere, and then he went off elsewhere before the lunges after the farmer's carry, and where's Danny? And the screen then wasn't working to show you how many laps you've done. And I think, I'm sure I've done 2, but maybe I've done 1. I don't know. Well, I better do another one because the penalty would be bigger than the run I'd do. So then I went as fast as I could round. So I did that before the lunges. Doing it once is something, but then I did it again with the wall balls. Before the wall balls. So I ended up running an extra kilometre in Washington, and that was my worst run time, my worst race time I've ever done.
Right.
Yeah. So
how do you keep track? Do you do fingers? Do you have a watch? How do you keep track?
I never look at my watch. What I do is now, I kind of feel people say, you use bands and put them from one to another and all this. I just, in my head, I'm saying 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, and just hope it's not too complicated. That's what I'm doing. And it's good because, you listen to a lot of podcasts, people say like chunking things down into what's next. And I always think about what is next only, but this is really, it's just, you're on that one, you're on that one, you're on that one, Yeah. So, I just do it like that. I do look at the board. I do make sure I look at the board and see what it's working and what it is, but I don't rely on it.
Yep. All right. So what one station crushes you? Like you get there and you just gut it through to make it through the station.
There's been different stages. I think with Hyrox, for most people, it'll be different stations at different times of how you are. Obviously, Warballs was the one that would always crush us. I lost the European Championships 2 years ago on the Warballs. I timed everything really right in the race. I got a bit of bad judging, I think. But yeah, my Warballs weren't good enough, and that's open race. There was no necessary excuse for that. I worked on those Warballs, and then I've got, I come into this year's European Championship, and in a similar type of situation, and I know that I could go unbroken if I wanted to, but I got to 50. He'd broken a couple. All right, I'll just go 25 now. But previously, wall balls and pro wall balls are still a thing.
Yeah.
Still working on those. And I remember, on a funny note, I was asking Guy before the race in Chicago. We were watching the elite doubles the night before. I said, "Guy, what's your strategy on wall balls?" I'm probably thinking, go out doing 15s, 20s, he's unbroken. And okay. And he won it on the wall balls.
Oh,
Him
man.
and Mike in the 50-54 division, right? Mike, so fast, 110 times triathlon, 11 times to Kona. This guy is seriously fast. And I got to race with him doing the doubles in Europe, and we set the fastest time I've ever raced in 54 minutes something. But he went in and was 30 wall balls ahead. Guy comes along and just knocks it out of the park and wins the world championship. So I think wall balls, have been and still are. Burpees were a big thing, but I feel better about burpees. I think again, this comes down to mechanics. If you can get really fluid at the mechanics of it, and then just have that mindset of just not necessarily grind out, because that's got a negative connotation, but just keep going. Just keep the just keep the cadence going. Just keep the cadence going. Just turn over. And you've got the right. I think with any stations having the right strategy around it, right? And I did an experiment of doing 400 meters of jump up, 400 meters step up, 400 meters of knee up, and looking at heart rate and looking at time and the amount of reps and all this kind of stuff in over a few weeks over here. And for me, step up was the better one. Now, I think if I got the mechanics better for knee up, then a combination of knee up and step up would make some sense.
Yeah.
But I think if you get the mechanics right, then you can eliminate a lot of the hassle around a station.
Yeah.
You want to get and you build your aerobic base, and it's all kind of, if you get better at your running, you're gonna have more energy at the stations. If you get more efficient at the stations, you're gonna have more energy in those stations and more energy for the subsequent run. So it all feeds off each other.
Yeah, it's a feedback loop. Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah, that's very good. Well, let's see. You've got New York coming up, and then Stockholm. So I'll see you in New York probably. I race on the 30th. Do you know what day you're racing in New York?
29th.
Oh, so good. We'll be there together. Are you judging at all in New York?
No, I'm basically flying in and flying out. I'm flying the day before and I'm flying back the day after.
I'm doing the same thing.
Limit the amount of time away from family, because I'm going to go to Stockholm solo. So, and that's going to be a 1 week thing. So yeah, just limiting that time, but just get a race in.
Yep. Okay, one last question, and then I'll let you go today, Simon. What is one tune or one song that comes across during the race that kind of gives you that little extra bump? Or training song?
Yeah, but they all change.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
It depends what you're training. I like, when doing easy stuff, I love to listen to podcasts and learn on the podcast as to what's going on. Recently, on the way back from Europe, I watched the film Neil Diamond tribute act film from Song Blue.
Yeah.
Fantastic film. Hugh Jackman in there. And I grew up with, we had the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, but we also had ABBA, and we had Neil Diamond constantly playing. And so yeah, today we had Neil Diamond coming to America and Blue Jeans and all that playing. It's something upbeat. I think it's something upbeat to just get you through. And you have to vary it a bit, like everything. You vary it a bit, and it keeps it a bit fresh. But
yes.
I don't know anyone who's around nowadays apart from Bad Bunny from the Super Bowl listening to that over here a lot bigger. But so yeah, Neil Diamond is this current.
It's your
flavor.
go-to right now.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, hey Simon, super good to talk to you today. I appreciate you coming on and talking with me.
No, thank you very much. It's been really good fun.
Yeah, and we will see you in New York.
Yeah. See you there.
All right, Simon. Take care. Have a good rest of the day.
Will do. All right. Take care. Thanks very much.
Yep. Bye-bye.